back to Klepp's Garage. I'm your host Bruce, and today we're going to put this 1931 Model A Ford Victoria back together. You remember back in episode, I don't know, I'll put it down here somewhere. And then the 31 Model A Victoria. Now you've seen me driving this around in a couple of videos. It runs and drives fine. However, I'm heading home, I don't know, in May. It was cold outside. I'm about 500 yards from my house. All of a sudden I hear this popping sound up through the carburetor, like a backfiring sound. I'm like, well, that don't sound right. So I nursed it home and pulled it in, and I kind of looked it over. I thought, well, it's probably got a burnt valve. That's probably what it is. I don't know. So I thought, well, we'll tear into that and see what's going on. It's kind of unique what happened. So I'm going to tell you what happened, and maybe you guys in the comments can see if any of the other Model A guys have ever had this problem before. It's definitely different. It was working, but the pad was down in the oil pan, and this was riding on the cam. Yeah. So broke the tappet in half, and this is a clean break too. I'm thinking you can probably see this. I'll get this close enough. It's a pretty clean break. Not really sure what caused this, other than maybe it had wasn't hardened right. I mean, if you guys got any ideas, put something down in the description. Have a little discussion about this. I'm not really sure what caused this. But today, I need to make a tool holder to put the cam in so I don't bang it all around. So let's see how we're going to do that. Okay, so this is the cam shaft that I took out of it. Got it hermetically sealed here so I don't get it all boogered up. This is the cam nut that came with it that goes on the end here after you put the gear on there. This is a new style that they make that you can actually put a socket on instead of beating the crap out of it with a chisel. So I'm going to go with this new style nut. However, I need to make a tool to hold this so I can guide it in. So what I did was take the old original nut. I ordered a new one just like it because I didn't feel like tearing a motor apart, and these are cheap. So we're going to take this piece of pipe, and we're going to go over to Mr. Hobart, ergo the welding helmet, and we're going to put this together about like that, tack it together. This will screw on the end of this cam. Then I just have to use another cam I got laying around, screws on the end of the other end, and now I'll have a tool holder to put that cam in. Actually, it don't sound like that, but that's what we're going to do. So let's go to Mr. Welder and tack this together. Okay. See if I can hold this in this vise and so I can tack roll it together. Well, you guys didn't know I was a tool maker. Funny, I didn't know I wasn't either. That's close enough for the girls we go out with. There, now we'll get Mr. Hobart on here and just tack in place. Alright, that ought to do it. Let's do a weld test. Survived that. Now we'll cool it off. Might be a little bit hot. Alright, so I got this thing all cooled off. Yeah, it's not the prettiest in the world, but so women don't find you handy, they'll at least find you handsome. Red green, 1990 something. Anyhow, So there, made my own tool. So we'll just take this one in here, we'll screw it onto the camshaft that we're going to use, like thus. And then we're going to take this donor cam I just happen to have laying around. It's probably still good, I could use it, but we don't need two cams. I don't think I can make a twin cam out of this. Maybe if I get Mr. Grinder out and start welding, I could do that. So there. Now, I have a straight 8 camshaft. What do you think about that? I put 2 4-cylinders together. Now I can take this and hang on to it without dropping anything and just put it right in there. So we'll get the lifters in and get this ready to go in. Won't that be nice? Now I've got it on there, I'll just put it back in its little container. Wouldn't want to get it all banged up. That'd be wrong. Want to roll right off the bench. Stay. I'm going to take these nice new lifters and put some motor assembly grease on them. I'm going to stick them in there one at a time, up through these holes, right there, all 8 of them. And then we're going to take a wire tie, and we're going to wire tie them up so I can get the cam in there. So I need a volunteer to lay down here on the floor and hold him up there. Oh, there's a volunteer. Thanks, Nash. You don't fit. Let me jack it up. All right, so I have my volunteer down under. He didn't even have to ride a plane for 15 hours. He's just down under. Should have put the white grease all the way around and around. So as soon as he sticks that up through there, I'm going to put this little doodad on there. Which hole are you going into? That one. Oh, that goes way up in there. All right, should be able to let go of it. You can go to the next one. We'll see if we can get a system down. I'll get these things started, and he can lube up the lifters and stick them up through the hole. This will work quite nice. I was going to do this all by myself, but it's a lot easier having a helper. And I'll do it. So anyhow, these work out really good. They're just the right size. And we'll get this here, we'll get the cam back in. I'm going to put this puppy back together. See if it runs again. Ran before, I guess I'll run now. Okay, you can come out of there. So what are you saying? You outgrew the car? All right, now we'll get the cam ready. Switched ends here to make sure. Okay, this is my donor cam. You know, that's one bad thing about using 2 cams. You don't know which one to put in there. So we're going to put some lube on here. And you can't get enough of this stuff on there. I'll just tell you right now, you need plenty of this on there. Alright, so let's try this contraption out. So far, I've already banged it once. This is the part that gets tricky. There, it's in. How you like that? All I gotta do is unscrew my my tool and put the gear on it, time it, let the lifters drop down, put the valves in it, springs, start putting them back together. Easy peasy. Hello! Well, it's another day. The other day you saw us putting the camshaft in, the lifters in, new lifters. Today it's time to put the timing gear on it and time it. Nowadays, the vendors sell this nice new nut that's actually got a hex on it, which I don't know why they didn't do this in the first place. But this is a lot nicer. So now you can get on here with a socket, which this is 1.5 inches, and get right on there and tighten that up. So that's what we're going to do with this. But so you might ask, well, how do you time this thing? Oh, it's easy peasy. This gear can't get there from here. So this is aluminum gear. I guess you could call it a bulletproof gear. It's made by Snyder's USA. That's where I get a lot of my parts. Anyhow, it has a timing mark here. This can only go one way on the camshaft. Just show you. So just happen to have a camshaft here. So believe it or not, these two little tabs here fit in those holes, and they are offset. So they will only go on, yeah, like that, one way. So once you get your timing mark lined up with the gear on the crank, you can rotate this cam around and get this lined up. Now's a good time to do this before I put the valves in, because there's no tension on the camshaft, so you can rotate this by hand. It's pretty easy peasy. And I guess I'll get the camera in here closer to show you what's going on. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I kind of forgot. I thought, you know, you had this up on top dead center, number one, and this stuff would all line up. No, not the case. Ford's better idea. The timing mark's right here. Move this oil slinger out of the way. So basically about 1 inch before top dead center is where this lines up at. And the reason why they did that, let me put it on there. The reason why they did that is when you crank this around, this hole will make its way over to about here. And when it's over there, it's now on top dead center. So when it's over there, I know you've all seen these front covers of the engine. This is the front cover. It's got this little doodad sticking out. Well, what is that for anyhow? Well, I'm glad you asked. You unscrew this, and you turn it around, and you put it in this way. Then you have a buddy crank the motor over slowly. And when it gets up to top dead center, this little button here will fit into that little drilled hole. And that tells you where top dead center is, so you can actually time the distributor. That's the whole reason for this, and that's the whole reason that this is not top dead when you're lining this up, which I find to be interesting. By the way, this is a cam button to keep your cam from floating back and forth. So, yeah. Zoom in on these timing marks. So this is the timing mark here on the crankshaft gear, which is lined up with this keyway. So this gear can only fit on one way. This only fits there. There's your timing mark hole. And again, that's about, I don't know, 1 inch from top dead center. So when you crank this over, of course, this motor's going righty-tighty, and this will be spinning opposite way left. So let's give it a crank here and get Mr. Oil Slinger back on where it goes. Anyhow, so that comes around about, went too far. And see that one went way past it. Let me just do this again, shall we? So we're coming up to top dead. Whoa, man, that's quick. All right, so it's on top dead. Crankshaft position's actually almost high noon. There's your timing mark. However, this mark here is over here. And again, that's for that timing pin. So when you unscrew this out of the front cover and turn it around, and you slide it in there, well, looky here. It fits right in that little hole. So don't get the bright idea of sharpening this to a point, because you don't need to. But when you turn the motor over, you'll feel this. It comes up and it just sinks in. So that's what that's for. And when that's there, number one's at top dead. Both valves should be down, which I don't have them in there yet. And then you can time your distributor to fire on number one. So that's kind of a brief explanation on how that works. All right, so it's another day. I've got the front timing cover bolted back on. I got my new front pulley on there. I've got this timed for number 1 by shoving this thing into the timing gear. Got number 1 on top dead. I've put the first valve in. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I put the valves in, and then we're going to check the valve lash. All right, so we'll put the next valve in, valve number 2 of number 1 cylinder. So this is the valve. It's got a mushroom end on it. This is a factory original. So it goes in like this. However, the original motor has what's known as split valve guides. So, let me see this or not. So this is a valve guide. It wraps around the valve, and it goes up in the block like that, and the spring fits in there like that, holds it up there, and this keeps it all in check. So what we're going to do is put a little lith grease on here, because you can't have enough lubrication. And we're just going to spin that around in there, and we'll spin that around in there, about like that. And we're going to drop this down in. Well, not really going to drop it. You do have to be careful with valves. You can bend the stem pretty easy, and they don't seat. I'm not lapping these valves in because this motor's only got about 2,000 miles on it, 3,000. It's a rebuild. It shouldn't need any of this done. Of course, this is going to go up in there hard. About like that. Yeah, it isn't pretty, but it got the job done. So now I've got to raise this spring up so I can get the keeper on there. This is where that other tool comes in really handy. So we'll just get it out. Push the valve down, put the socket up here. Put that there like that. Let me come up just a little bit. Like so. And push the spring up. And we'll hold that there and find my little keeper. So the keeper only goes in one way. This is the, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. The spring fits around this, and this has got a mushroom shape to it there. So all basically do is slip it in there like that. Mind your fingers and let that down. There. Easy peasy. Yeah. Anyhow, so those 2 valves are in, intake, exhaust. Now, since I got it up on number 1 top dead center, I'm going to go ahead and measure the valve lash, which is the distance between the valve and that lifter. And since these are brand new lifters, I need to adjust these. So we'll probably check this, and then since this is it's a single tap lifter, we'll have to raise it up, adjust it, hold, I think you can see it on here. Got to hold the tappet with 1 wrench and use a wrench on this to adjust them. And then we'll have to rotate it around. So this takes a little while. I'll just kind of briefly go over it. I bet you're wondering, now how do I know what to set those clearances at? Well, you can consult your Model A shop manual would tell you, or you can cheat and go to a vendor. This one here happens to be Gaslight, and they list all the specifications here of a Model A. And well, if you just look right down here under valve tappet clearance, it says 15 thousandths. So that's for both intake and exhaust. All right, so I talked to my Model A guru, and basically he told me that if it's a stock valve setup and stock block seats, probably 15 thousandths is what you want. If it's got hardened valve seats, these things right here, they drill these out and put a seat in there, and it's a hardened seat. Then you probably want to go with 12 thousandths, both intake and exhaust. So just to kind of refresh what's going on here. So I'm talking about the distance between here and that valve. So you have to adjust that so there's about 12 thousandths or 15 thousandths. Now I got to make up my mind which way I'm going to go. But that would be right between, I don't know if I can get it in this one or not. Yeah, that clearance right there. All right, so the first thing you need to do is rotate the engine around and get this number 1 valve up so you can get in here and get on that with a wrench. So then you need a set of valve wrenches, I guess you'd call it. These are a lot skinnier up here than a regular wrench. And the reason for that is to be able to get in here. So one's got to hold it, and the other one has to turn the little lock nut that's on there, like that. So we're going to give this a little couple of turns, and I'm going to need a smaller wrench. Anyhow, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to adjust this, and then we'll check the clearance. And of course, the wrenches I got are only 1/2 inch. I need a 7/16 wrench, but this wrench is too dang thick. So we're going to, we're going to redneck engineer this to make it thinner. So here's one technique. I don't really suggest you do this at home, boys and girls, but if you're an advanced technician, and there you go. I have a new valve wrench. Wasn't that fun? All right, now that I got my new valve wrench made, I can get in there a lot better. And this one will fit. So now all I got to do is tighten this up a little bit here like that. Now we'll have to run it back around and check it, and we'll probably have to do that again 2 or 3 times. Won't this be fun? Like I said, I won't bore you with this. We'll move on, but that's how you do it. All right, back again. Tonight I finished up putting all the valves together, springs, keepers, and went through 412 times to get the valve life right. So now they're all at right at 15 thousandths, and it goes in there, and then it won't go to the next one up, which is 17 thousandths. So it's 15 out here, 17 there. So as long as I can slide this in, it stops, which it does. We're good. You know, last segment I showed you, I thought this would be a handy tool to compress that spring to get the spring up in there. And it was working, but it didn't suit me. So I dug through my archives, and I found this little handy tool. This is really neat. I can't find a name on it anywhere, but this is an antique valve spring pusher-upper, for the lack of a better term. Anyhow, this just sits on the block, sticks in there, and you just push it up. Handy little tool. This is going in my new bag that I have for valve tools.
How was lunch?
That was lunch.
You took me to Front Street.
Lunch was good.
Oh, right.
But we had to come home for pie because we had leftover pie for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and they didn't have any pie.
Hey, I'm with my friend John, and hi, John.
Hi, John. Hi, Bruce.
And today we're having a Model A fix-it in-house workshop day. So I guess John's never really seen the inside of a Model A oil pan.
Nope.
It's actually a 2-piece oil pan. You have a conventional pan like thus, but Ford has this little do thingy in there. So for lack of a better term, I'm going to call this a windage tray and or a dipper tray, because the oil stays in these here, and the rods come down, they have dippers on them. Let's see, am I doing it? Yeah, right way. So they come down and dip the oil, and then it makes its way back to the back of the pan and goes back down in. The oil pump puts fresh oil down through the cam gallery. And so this goes down in here, and this stays in there. So when you drain your oil in a Model A, you can't get all this oil out unless you jack the car up about like that. You still can't get it all out, but it's close.
And it has baffles like a liquid hauling trailer.
Yeah. Keep the oil from sloshing around down in the bottom.
Okay.
So I'm going to clean this a little bit more because I just noticed it's kind of dirty. And we're going to put this together. It goes down in here like this, and it's just a pressed-in fit. You can actually take them out. And then we're going to put, John's going to put some goop on here, and we're going to put this oil pan on today.
Oh boy.
Won't that be fun?
How many days later will you be redoing it?
Well, I don't know. It'll run until it quits running. What do you think?
Okay.
So this edge here follows this hand. And like I said, this is the hole for the dipstick, and this is the hole for the oil pump. I will try to now just take this hammer
Lightly tap it.
and just hit it on this side. I already got this side in. And you should be able to hear it just click in there.
You want to tape?
It is.
Oh,
Could it be that easy? Yes, it's just that easy. So now we have the slinger pan or the windage tray, whatever you want to call that thing, is now in. So basically this is stamped sheet metal that fits into these grooves on both sides. That's what holds it in there. Now I'm going to have John put some Guckenpuffkey on the pan gasket here. And we're ready to put this baby back in. So while he's putting the black silicone on there, I'll go underneath and get things ready to put the pan up underneath there. John and I are old Model T guys, and he's not up on age, but he just bought a, what did you buy,
29 pickup roadster.
Roadster pickup. Very nice piece. We might do a feature on what's in John's garage here coming up sometime, but apparently he's going to Florida for the winter.
Amen.
So that'll have to be in the springtime. But anyhow, yeah, you'll have that. So while he's gooping that up, we'll get the rest of this ready to go, and then hopefully we'll get this on today. And there's actually a gasket that goes on the bottom of the fourth main. It's like a neoprene thing. I've already got that on there. And then this will just butt up against it and seals up against that, so we don't need to put silicone on there. No cussing. Alright, see if I can get this thing up.
You say your cousin's coming to town.
I think that's what I said.
I thought that's what you said. You said no cousins in town.
Now the easy way to do this would be get the floor jack underneath here and jack it up so I can
Day
hold it up
this would
there.
be bring it over and put it on my lift.
Well, that'd be easy. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a lift, wouldn't it?
It is nice.
Let me get the floor jack.
That's why I got 23 years out of this false hip instead of the 10 they told me I'd get. Behind me.
I didn't get that. What'd your dad say?
My daddy said, get my butt behind me.
Okay. Oh, there you go. All right. Now, you want to slide the jack in. You go ahead and jack it up.
Fingers in between the pan and the block.
Let it back down again. I forgot to get on top of the tie rod. Line jack. Okay.
You said no cussing.
I didn't cut yet. Now go ahead and jack it up. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go on up with it. That's probably good right there. Did it.
Did the car come up with a jack stand?
Not yet, should we?
Probably not.
And that is how you put an oil pan on without a lift. I'll put a couple bolts in. Did we forget anything? No, I don't. All right, got the oil pan on. We're ready to put the head on, and I got some copper gasket sealer stuff on here, and we're gonna see if we can get this in there. Oopsie. Is there another one? Woo! Not like that. Hey, that was almost too easy. While John's putting on the head nuts, I put a little oil on this shaft just to keep it all happy. And I had this all marked before, so I dropped everything back in the way it was, so it should start right up without too much hesitation.
You must have those two radiator neck someplace else.
I got them over here. Should get the neck on there, yes. Is the neck over on your side?
Yeah.
We want to put some goop on the gasket, but I think I got a new gasket over there.
Doesn't say left and right on it.
Left and right, yes, there's a top and a bottom, a left and a right. And if you believe that, I've got some swamp ground to sell you. Okay. Okay, I got the distributor in where it goes. And we'll go ahead and run these nuts down with a speed wrench probably. I'll put a little oil on them so the threads don't gall or bind on us. I think we're getting somewhere now.
Fast?
Fast? No, not fast, we're just getting somewhere.
Half.
Oh, half. Yeah.
Half.
Yeah, half rear-ended, yes.
Get out of my way.
Yeah,
I got a bolt here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in your way.
I got a nut.
Just tell me to get out of the way.
There's a loose nut over here.
Is it behind the steering wheel?
Yeah, that too.
I knew it. A loose
And
nut.
in the passenger seat.
Yeah. Well, let me get a socket to fit that. Let's see here.
Hey, Bruce,
What?
why don't you get a socket that fits that head nut?
That'd be a great idea, Mr. Obvious. Looks like it's 11/16. Well, I'm just going to have John run the nuts down just to snug them up, and then we'll start torquing them. Want a regular ratchet?
Oh, they don't have to be taken to correct.
Yeah, try not to cuss this time, will you?
I couldn't help you drop the 20-pound sledgehammer on my foot.
Well, yeah, that'd do it. Like I said, we're just snugging them down, and then we'll go along and torque these things. I think the torque setting is 50. I'll look it up.
Well, if you're up to 32, you ought to have the 29 in there.
Oh, I do. John and I are talking about pictures, so don't mind us. Okay, so there, that's on. Now all I gotta do is put these little thick industrial washers on and the nuts. And that'll be on. Hook up the exhaust, get the wiring, radiator, stuff. Yeah, we're getting there. All right, well, we made some pretty good bag here today. My friend John come over to help us, and we got...
Glad to.
Thank you. we got everything back together. I got to put water in it yet. Finished wiring up the headlights. It just got late. I was hungry, and he said I needed a break, so we quit for the night. But like I said, I want to thank you again for coming over, and that was big fun. We had our own Model A workshop day. And
behind the scenes were fun.
There was a lot of adult language that you did not hear.
Why did you say that?
I don't know. And we I think the oil pan only fell on my head at least twice maybe. I think so, yeah. And but we kept John busy getting things cleaned up, put back together. So the motor's all back together. We got the hood back on it, and we're ready to fire it up. We just didn't do it tonight because it's just too late in the evening. So like I always say, we'll show this running here in the next clip. But like I always say, remember, drive them if you got them. In this case, get your Model A running.
You want to market this while you're on the video?
No. This car might be for sale. For inquiries, email klepsgarage@gmail.com. And we might make you a deal on this. All right.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. Always good to get dirty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I sort of got my hands clean.
Yeah. I got some sealer on it. So.
Sealer? Want some gasoline? Take that off?
Nope, that's fine.
Then you light it.
Thanks. Do not give these instructions to your grandchildren.
Yeah, don't take what I say seriously.
Do not give these.
There should be a warning label with me. There should be a warning label. Yeah, okay.
See ya. Drive them if you got them.
All back together. Gas, water, oil. Gas turned on. Battery's a little weak. Put it on the charger, but gonna sit around. See if it'll run. That sounds like it always did. I guess I ought to adjust the carburetor. I would call that a success. So there you go. Tear down, rebuild. Only took me 6 months. All right. Didn't even have to adjust the timing. Wait a minute, I'm getting your best side. How about turn around the other way?